says, you bring me anti-aircraft missiles and weapons and aircraft, and I'll let you build some missile bases. And Khrushchev is not so much interested in Cuba. He's interested in trading off for Turkey and Berlin. Remember, at the same time, you got the Berlin Wall going up after the Berlin blockade. So for him, this is a trade-off. He almost knows when he's putting this stuff here that he's not going to get away with it. But it's going to be so close that the political pressure is going to be on Kennedy to trade something of equal value. And Castro's a little bit willing to do that because what does Castro get out of it? An unbelievable amount of anti-aircraft missiles and surface-to-air missiles and aircraft. So it's kind of a bargain with the devil for everybody to gambling that each person plays a cards on the table. We're going to get this stuff back. The crisis itself becomes very, very dangerous. So in late 61, 62, the Russians are coming here. They're building all the bases with the Cubans. They start sending the surface-to-air missiles. And in September 62, our aircraft, U-2 spy planes, are starting to see it. And then as the report goes to Kennedy, says, these look like Russian nuclear positions and elsewhere that we've seen. And so there's nothing here yet, but something's going to be coming. And sure enough, we recognize that it's coming. And it's like October 15th is when we are absolutely certain, 100% certain, that nuclear missiles are going to be here pretty soon. We better do something about it. And so that's when we come out with the Navy that comes out into the Florida Straits, out towards the Bahamas and out further. And we decide not to call it a blockade because that would be an act of war. So McNamara says, let's call it a quarantine, which is also but essentially blocking it from the Russians being able to bring anything in. And then it becomes a very tense period. 15 days in October is going to book the movie, all these different things. But for the Cuban people, they're ready prepared for invasion. And the U.S. is prepared for invasion. Joint Chiefs of Staff says, well, what is their recommendation? We know what the Joint Chiefs of Staff recommendation is, the U.S. military? Pull up invasion. Military, U.S. military says, the only way to do this is we've got to go in. And Kennedy's like, I don't think. What does Kennedy think about the Joint Chiefs of Staff who told him all about how good the Bay of Pigs was going to be? So he does not trust those guys anymore. And he's like, no, that doesn't make any sense to me. He also, you read Kennedy's quotations throughout the late 50s as a senator, even up to 1960 when he and Nixon are going at it. He says, the poor Cuban people have suffered for 50 years under these horrid dictatorships and all, and we've been supporting that. A lot of what's happened is our fault. I mean, that was Kennedy's position, so he's not willing to do that. So Kennedy takes a riskier move, is to do this blockade and call Khrushchev's bluff. And they are talking back and forth and making this happen, but it becomes very dangerous as those Russian ships come in. It's going to last till I think October 25th is when the Russians finally turn around. Khrushchev and Kennedy are writing letters back and forth. Finally, Khrushchev gets a secret message. Kennedy says, I can't allow it to be done publicly. But Kennedy agrees, I will pull those missiles out of Turkey. But it won't be immediate, but I'll do it. But you've got to turn this stuff around and get these bases out of here. Because I've got to do that for my political purposes because of what he promised to keep America strong. But I'll get those missiles out of Cuba. And so Khrushchev turns it around. And Khrushchev had thought Kennedy was weak. I mean, he had. And this convinced him that, no, I guess this young man is a little bit tougher than I thought. So they turn around. A few months later, the U.S. pulls those missiles out of Turkey, and that de-escalates that. Then they create the red phone so the two presidents can talk. All those things happen in here. We were at an unbelievably tense period. One of my best friends so my birthday was in the middle of the crisis, October 21st. One of my best friends is Tim Bono. His wife's birthday. Tim was born 4 days after me, October 25th. His dad was Chief of Staff of the entire United States Army from 88 to 92. His dad was in 82nd Airborne when Tim was born. Not allowed to see him. They were just a couple miles away. But his dad was on full pack, ready to end here and fly here any minute. Any minute. It just could have been a couple hours. And so Tim's dad missed his birth because that's how close this was.
Eyeball to eyeball, and
right. But this is right here on these grounds were surface-to-air missiles, and then this is defensive positions. You go through here, these tunnels go all the way through. The firepower of the U.S. military would have been unbelievable. But they were going to fight. I mean, they defeated those Cuban exiles before. But this is the spot. We've never been that close. Never been that close as it was right here. Surface to air, but nothing was ready to go. Surface to air missiles were here. That when we saw that one that's up there at the top was the type that would have been here. Everything coming off the ships would have made it operational. And those ships were not very far off. And that was going to operationalize everything. But again, I firmly believe that everybody knew what was going on in a way. Khrushchev's doing this because of Berlin. Kennedy's doing this for political reasons with the election and because of the Bay of Pigs. Castro's doing it to get that surface-to-air missile support that he needs for the long run. He really didn't care about the nukes himself. He never would have had control of those nukes. That's not for Castro. That was a Khrushchev and Kennedy issue. But for Castro, he got the defensive support that he needed to thwart any other American threat that he'd seen. So I think all of them were playing a very high-stakes game of poker, and it worked out, frankly, for all of them. And it worked out for all of them. But it was fraught with danger at times.
Would the people have been able to see ships, or they?
From right here, no. From right here, no. It was out. I mean, it was miles out. When we were out in Pinar del Rio, that's the closest spot, there were missile sites there, but also all the way through central Cuba too. What we're going to do is take probably maybe 15 minutes at the end